Everybody, it's George here. Today we're going to be looking at Bolton versus Barnsley and doing a little bit of analysis on it. Today's going to be a shorter video because later on in the week I'm looking to have a video out on Ibrahim Sissoko and looking at how he played. So I thought I'd just do this one up to the sending off. So it is going to finish it as 1-0 down. It was a good point away from home overall. I'd have probably taken a point before the game. I know a few people won't be happy with that one. Cogley didn't have the greatest of games, did he? And it didn't start off very well. As you can see, 33 seconds in. Kayla Dunn, he's a very, very good player. There's no shame in losing a battle to Kayla Dunn. But Cogley well and truly got done by Kayla Dunn. That is one of the worst jokes anyone's ever made. But it highlights how quickly it started to go wrong for him. And I think this just set the tone for the game. He weren't great in possession. It weren't for lack of effort. We've seen it before with Bolton players in the past where you can come away and go, they've not tried. I've never been able to say that about Cogley. He definitely put a shift in yesterday. It didn't come off for him. He looked a bit sloppy on the ball, in all honesty. It's 18 into the game here, and Amario's picked up the ball in what looks like an incredible position. I really thought he should have gone for this with his right foot. I still think he maybe could have done, but if I flick over to the next slide, you're going to see there is a little bit of a stretch of the ball. This isn't the greatest picture. I've tried very, very hard to get it to look a little bit clearer. But there is a stretch to that ball. If he gets his first touch right, it's probably a goal, but it's not as easy as chance as it first looked. So here's the main talking point about today. If you've seen the channel before, you'll know that I love a good press. So that's what we'll be looking at here. The big difference between this and the Plymouth game was Plymouth only had one in here, which made Burstow and Randall's job a lot easier because they could go and press the centre half. What we did here was we sat in more of a mid-block, when we got it right, in my opinion, where we just screened the midfield. We didn't let Connell on the ball, which was a big part, other than when they scored the goal. And maybe one or two other times in the game, he never really got the ball turning and looking to play forward. We managed to get the distances correct where we're screening that midfield, trying to force him to go long, but also keeping touch tight so that if he does somehow manage to get the ball, Simmons is in that position where he can go and put pressure on straight away. And then we're going to roll the clip through in a second there, and you'll see that we screen it perfectly, and the ball ends up getting played long and going out of play.
Cheryl. 3 ex-Wanderers in the starting Barnsley line-up today. Well, his pass is poor, overhit, and a throw-in.
From that clip, it worked out very well in that circumstance. We screened and we made them play long. And I wanted to just highlight this because this is the only other time I found where Connell manages to pick the ball up, turn, and play it forward from that deeper position. Now, the distances weren't quite right here, but Connell's a very, very good player. He's going to get into these positions, and to stop him doing it, to limiting him to doing it only 2 or 3 times in a game, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's quite a good press, quite good defending. In this certain circumstance, he goes long, and McGoldrick's actually offside. The line's a little bit better. Toll's still a little bit deep, as you'll see for the goal. But the line's up high, and if you look at that from where Burstow is to Toll, we're not giving him a lot of space to play him. And I can't imagine we'd have minded them going in behind too much. I think we'd have fancied being able to chase McGoldrick back. Obviously, that didn't play out too well for the goal. This area, and before I do say it, I want to start off by saying I think Mario Cozy-Dubry is a fantastic player, and I am in no way trying to dig him out at all. I just think maybe one of the negatives of his overall game at the moment is his passing ability. We've seen it in the Plymouth game where him and Gale were on a counter attack, and he's tried to play Gale through, and he's just underhit the pass a little bit. And I think it could be because he goes so quick, and there's so much going on that maybe his brain works a little bit too quick for the execution of the pass sometimes, because it seems to be that it's undercooked, but he's already made his run. So maybe he's thinking ahead a little bit too much before he plays the ball, because this here, if he gets this pass right, we're in on goal. Again, not digging him out at all. I think he had a pretty solid game. But I do think that this is maybe one of the things we could see him develop over the season, is that ability of playing them balls through to other players. This again, very similar to the way we set up deep against Plymouth, where the two centre mids drop in really deep. Thierry's really, really high and wide, which means that these can't just pull across and make the pitch really short. We end up going through to Cogley. I think he clips it long, which takes 1, 2, 3, 4 of their players out, and just it gets us into their half really, really quickly. And we wouldn't be able to get out like this if it weren't for these two dropping in, because Kayla Dunn just comes and sits out here if Sheehan's not there, or if Simmons isn't there. This player can then watch Sheehan, which allows their player to come over here. So by them two dropping in as deep as they do, this is what allows us to get into the opposition half so quickly. And I thought we did that well again yesterday. We really did put players into the box. Into the box again. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 sat on the edge. It weren't one of them yesterday where we're coming out at half time and we're going, we've just not got ourselves into them positions. We've just not got players in the box. We did. It just didn't fall for us, and I don't mind that, because you can see it's coming. It's when the chances stop being there. It's when the players stop arriving in the box that you have to start being a little bit worried. But we're definitely not seeing that. And just it's nice to see players in the box, and I think we're going to see a lot of goals from crosses this year. I really, really do, especially when Sam Dolby's back. The distances again are correct. We're looking at Burstow and Randall cutting off them midfield two. There was a lot of interchange between these midfield two, and had to be, because we didn't give them a lot of space in here. We did try and shut them out of the game as much as we could. And I think that's why we didn't see an awful lot of threat from Barnsley. And we limited them to 2 or 3 chances, really. Not that we created an awful lot ourselves before the red card, but we did limit them. And if you're going away from home to a good team and you're limiting them to chances, I think you're doing your job, in my opinion. I highlight this here because this is the only other time I really found where McGoldrick makes this splitting run between the centre halves, other than the goal. This is the one where he ends up with a chance at the back post from a better cross. And I think this throws us off when they do end up scoring the goal, because McGoldrick makes a very similar run for the goal, but gets the ball played. Here, he doesn't get the ball played, and he just sort of lurks in an offside position until they get the ball to him at the back post. And it's brilliant centre forward play. I'm going to roll the clip in a second. I really do think McGoldrick had a very, very good game yesterday. But I just wanted to highlight how he spent a lot of time occupying these positions, and the only other real run he made was this one, where he ends up just lurking offside, and then he's in a position where he can punish us.
One from Brighton. Dribbling inside and into the pitch, finds Shiganathan. Keeler done that wide towards Ogbeta. Looking to deliver across. Oh, it's in there, and McGoldrick with a sitter.
Watching that one again, I think we were a little bit lucky not to concede there. Brilliant centre forwards play by McGoldrick. Now this here, I think this is what ends up getting us the point, which is mental. Because Barnsley looked quite good defensively. I think we would have struggled to break them down. We might have done, but we would have struggled to break them down. It certainly made it easier with the 10. Just a little bit of aggression shown by Mason Burstow, and it was nice to see aggression show. Well, I mean, we're saying in the right way. I suppose they both get booked. If Burstow goes and makes a foul and gets sent off, it's in the wrong way. But the only real incident we saw a little bit like this last year was when Jay Matete kicked their player in the back of the head on the floor. And I mean, that's not necessarily the type of aggression you want to see. But going out, and all he had to do was touch it out of play, but smashing it and showing we're there for the fight. I think you want to see that from your players, don't you? It really got us a bit riled, made the game a bit more entertaining. I've been really, really, really happy with Mason Burstow so far. I don't think he's put much of a foot wrong, in all honesty. And just highlighting McGoldrick, how he did play here, and again the space Ogbeta's got here was a little bit concerning. But Coles Yadubi did end up sitting in on him, and also Ogbeta had a lot of space in that game, and he didn't do an awful lot with it, other than that brilliant cross which McGoldrick probably should have scored from. But you can see here these two drop off because of this run. And I think this was the biggest problem in the goal, is that no one follows the run from McGoldrick. And I don't know whether that is because of his age, and we thought we can get back anyway. If that is the case, that's very naive to presume, because he's a very, very smart striker, McGoldrick, because I've said numerous times in this video now. But I just wanted to highlight here the dropping off. In fact, he's in this sort of position as he was a lot. He was over here a lot as well in the same position. Yeah.
Josh Earl had dropped in a yard or two, Derek, and that would have been a tight one for me.
Yeah. Oof, there's a pass from Shepherd which put his goalkeeper in a bit of trouble. It's times like that you sometimes wish for VAR. Connell chips the ball over the top. McGoldrick looks offside, but the linesman keeps his flag down, and the shot comes in, and he's fired.
Josh Earl had dropped in a yard or two, Derek, and
things with the goal that we can talk about. I mean, I think Teddy Sharman-Lowe should be doing slightly better. I've seen the stat floated around that he's conceded 3 or 4 shots he's had on target. And I mean, obviously that's not great reading, but we are very early on into this season. And I think if you look at the Stockport game, I don't think you can really blame him too much for them too. He gets beat his near post there, so he should do better. But Sheehan here presses, and I'm not going to have a go at Sheehan for pressing. You all want your players to get at him, and he goes and he chases right to the goalkeeper. And if he takes the ball off him or he wins it up and he puts it in the net, we're all saying how brilliant he is. He's put in brilliant work rate in. But this was the first real time we saw one of these two midfielders step. I tweeted out in the game I'd like to see one of them step, but I sort of meant allowing the other striker to go, allowing Burstow maybe or Randall to push up on the centre halves, and then having your 2 attacking midfielders in here, rather than go chasing. Because the problem is that we went chasing. As you can see, Sheehan goes spacing, but look at the space here, which ends up being a problem. And you can see the distances again. Again, I've highlighted it quite a lot in this video, where you see Connell and the other midfielder with players around them, so they can't really pick that ball up and turn. Here, the distances are massive. Because of the fact we've gone to pressing, you do have to be aggressive in games, don't get me wrong. I just find it really interesting that the first time we really go and try and force the game a little bit, it bites us that little bit, as you can see from the next one. Toll's defensive, wow, when I have edited this, I have not done that line straight at all. But Toll's positioning's poor. It is poor. But in all honesty with him, it's the only, this and maybe one other time where I've looked at that back line and I've thought he's not in a great position. It's just unfortunate that McGoldrick makes an incredible run, and he sort of curves that run and goes back. And then give it again, you can see this is Connell, he's turned, he's on the ball. Randall's sat in, it's cover for Sheehan. Maybe if Randall goes and presses, they don't get the ball through, but if Randall goes and presses, you leave a big gap here. Does the number 8 pick it up? It's a tough one. We've tried to go and force the game, and they've played through it. It was a little bit of an unlucky one. But that's going to be it for today, guys. As I said, I'm going to try and have a video based around Ibrahim Sissoko and looking at the things I thought he did really well and what we've got to look forward to with him, as well as looking at a little bit of the second half when we go on to score and things like that. I thought I'd just stick with 11v11 for today. Overall, as I said, I would take a point at Barnsley before the game. I know a few people wouldn't be too happy with that. They've had a good start to the season. If you'd have asked me Stockport, Plymouth and Barnsley, would I have taken 4 points? Yes. This is a very new team. It's going to take a little bit of time for that sharpness to arrive. So it's not a bad start to the season whatsoever. Not a bad start to the season. If you have enjoyed the video, please leave a like or share or whatever. That would be massively appreciated. Any constructive criticism is massively appreciated as well. And I will catch you in the next one.